Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tip Off Truth Show. I'm your host, Nick. I'm joined by Grant and Bryce here. And, like usual, we always you do broad topics, but we're actually going to kind of go off me and Bryce did some research, a little bit more research on the metaverse and stuff like that. And I know Grant had a little topic that he wanted to talk about here. But I also want to talk about today's sponsor here. Let me switch over to the sponsor screen because I have that now. So, ladies and gentlemen, SF5 Solvent and Lubricant is a revolutionary polymer specially formulated for high volume, high heat, and friction firearms. SF5 is designed for all weapon systems to include fully automatic and suppressors. SF5 offers superior burn-off resistance. The key benefits of having SF5 is designed for your weapons that experience high volume, full auto, and suppressed fire. Protects metal parts from rust, wear and moisture during extreme conditions. Provides maximum heat resistance, superior blowback resistance, keeping oil out of your face and off your glasses, ladies and gentlemen. You can still have time to get this for stock and stuffer for any of your family that owns firearms. I know I have used this, and it is very, very efficient. And that is our sponsor for today's podcast, SF5 Lubricant and Solvent. And now on to the show. Alrighty, okay, if you're just tuning into the live stream, welcome. If you guys want to ask any questions during the podcast, you are more than welcome to. We love all the questions, but like I said before, let's dive right in and get started. I think we're going to go with Grant here first, because I know he wants to say this gets off his chest there.
Yeah, I do. I've been kind of, after I heard that sponsor, I was like, dang, I feel motivated more now about this than ever before. So, new polls came out. Obviously, we talked about Joe Biden's approval rating last night. But tonight, I want to discuss the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and where she sits at this moment in time in her vice presidency. So, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, almost 3 out of 10 Americans did not, or 3 in the 10 Americans were with the job that Kamala Harris was doing. And now that's even been worse. 60% of Americans disapprove of the job that Kamala Harris is doing. And so this is very important news because obviously we talked a little about Joe Biden's vice presidency and stuff like that, but what does it look like in 2024 when it comes to Kamala Harris possibly running for the Democratic Party? And so seeing that Americans don't agree with her agenda, agree with her plans and the things that she's doing, it just shows that she is never going to be the future for the Democratic Party. In my personal opinion, there's multiple candidates that could easily be Kamala Harris. One being Bernie Sanders. As much as I don't like the Democratic Party, everyone in my age group and some middle-aged Americans like him because he has a whole social agenda about going on socialism and free healthcare, free education. You'll be debt-free from college and all these different things, which is just not reality. When we look at places like Canada and China, we see that Canada might have free healthcare, but literally when you go inside a hospital, it takes hours and hours for you to get help, where you literally see Canadians travel down the border to the United States so they can get actual good health care. And so it's just very, very interesting to see what Bernie Sanders might have to do in the case of 2024. Another candidate I could see running for president for the Democratic Party, and I actually like this candidate, Tulsi Gabbard. She is a representative for the state of Hawaii, but one thing I do like about Gabbard is she is not afraid about calling out her own party. And I think that's really what you want to see in both parties. It's just like seeing a Republican call out the lies and other things that Republicans are doing nowadays. So Tulsi Gabbard, I could honestly really, I think she could have a shot at winning the presidency in 2024. That's if Joe Biden, I mean, we obviously know he's going to run again, but is he the face for the Democratic Party? So I will leave this topic to Bryce and Nick. So the big question is, if you do see Joe Biden run again in 2024, do you see him as the face of the Democratic Party, or you see someone else as the or you see someone else being the face of the Democratic Party?
I believe he's still gonna run, obviously. Now, when it comes to the face of the party, I mean, you got obviously Joe Biden, you got Bernie Sanders is probably gonna be another big one, because it's mostly affecting our age group. And then I don't know if Kamala Harris is gonna be a huge factor. She might.
She won't. No, she won't. You know why? Because literally when she ran in 2020, she conceded literally after like the second or third debate. So she is not going to be the face, I feel like, if Joe Biden doesn't run again. So that's another big situation.
Now, I don't know if he was in the last race, but Pete Buttigieg could run for president. So yeah, he could make an appearance again, but I know he's like the chief of transport or whatever now.
Yes, Secretary of Transportation.
Secretary of Transportation, yes, thank you. Those are what I'm seeing now. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's not going to run for president. She's staying to the House until someone else gets out of there. But other than that, I mean, I might have to do a little bit more research on that. But other than that, I think those are the people.
Yeah, and I just really want people who are, well, obviously we will have to vote in midterms, and so I really want people to look at people like Tulsi Gabbard. She might be with all the Democrat ideas, but I promise you, I could really, like, if I could, like, vote for one Democrat, it would be her. So I would highly encourage people to watch Tulsi Gabbard, because she probably is a close enough example to a Democrat like JFK. So I recommend you guys watch Tulsi Gabbard, TULSI GABBARD.
And is she the type of person that gets like the point across, like, I'm gonna give it to you straight, and not like, talk and kind of fluff it up here? She's the type of person to, like, get it across straight and get the facts straight, and that's the kind of person you want to see in the office making decisions.
Yeah, she I'll never forget when I was watching one of the Democrat debates, and she was literally just calling Kamala Harris out like pickpocketing her out like it was nothing. And it was I really, like, after I like noticed that and how she called literally out every single Democrat on that stage, it was like, okay, there's someone who could like really do something and can work in a bipartisan way. So 10 out of 10 recommend watching Tulsi Gabbard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so
but
Grant digresses on that.
Yes.
We will hit on that later. So Bryce, I know you've been waiting for this moment to talk about the metaverse and more of it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I've been doing some like research. It's definitely interesting. Like, I mean, it's from what I'm seeing right now, it's like becoming, or it's going to become, the new. It already has become the new currency, the worldwide like currency. Let's see.
Yeah, I actually did some research on the metaverse, and Facebook is actually looking at expanding the metaverse into their platform. So that will be, Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg
So,
is, working on it. Yep.
Well, it's funny because like it's also, like what I'm seeing is they're risking like a lot because they're trying to completely. I mean, they have changed their whole company name, so it's like, a company as big as Facebook or now the metaverse, it's hard to do that, and be successful with it. So I'm looking forward, or I'm interested to see where it's going to go in like a year, because that's what like I'm seeing a lot of is no one really knows exactly how people are going to react like to the whole thing just being completely redone.
Yeah.
But no, the metaverse has been something that has been in the making for almost like 25 years now.
Wow. You would have never thought. You would have never thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Like it was actually based off of a science fiction book that was written back in 1992 called Snow Crash.
Wow.
And yeah, it's about like, kind of your Ready Player One kind of deal. But no, and then you see Second Life coming out of this, which honestly looks like a really old, crappy version of GTA. And like the trailer looks cool.
It's one of those open world kind of games.
Yeah. Like the trailer looks dope, but like the actual gameplay is so bad. Like it looks. Yeah, it looks so bad.
And like, back to yesterday's kind of conversation, that I'll kind of, tip into that, but with like the social credit kind of deal, because I think one of the foundations for the metaverse, what they were trying to do is, how we were on lockdown in 2020, everyone's online, everyone's on Zoom, and that wasn't like a fully, you weren't immersed, you were just on a screen, and you were just kind of there 2D. But with the metaverse, it was this big idea, and you're going to get fully immersed with a 3D kind of deal, and you're going to be able to do all these things and get immersed and interact with your friends and family and whoever you want to interact with. And I believe that was one of the foregrounds for starting that or whatever, is what I kind of read on. I can, do a little bit more research, but that's what I saw. And, they're also talking about these currencies and stuff like that, so you have to, like, actually buy with real money, these cryptocurrencies, and then people are buying, these new thing called NFTs, and I mean that's just blown up everywhere. You see it everywhere. Twitter.
What even is? I'm gonna look up the definition of an NFT.
I mean, it's a digital thing you own, basically. Which I mean.
It's called a non-fungible token.
Yeah. So like they're owning virtual things. Like
so it's an interchangeable unit of data stored on a digital ledger.
And is this going to be the new, is this going to be like a new type of, like a new thing in society? Like, are we going to start seeing this everywhere now?
Which is like, listen, man, I don't really understand where the world's going right now, because I'm literally looking at a monkey with a stinking cap on that's being sold for $50,000.
Yeah.
Like, what is society coming to right now? Like, I'm honestly a little dumbfounded right now.
I agree.
Let me ask you guys this: would you personally invest in the metaverse, and would you participate in it?
I mean,
I'll let Bryce go on this.
I mean, I personally wouldn't, because I feel like this is a spike that is going to go down very soon. Like, because how like Bitcoin had their little spike. Like I don't think this is going to last very long. Like I feel like this is going to last for like maybe a good 6 months, a year, something like that, and then it's gonna just go. It's gonna go right back down. Like because it's all on demand. I feel like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of this is on the demand, and like how many people are trying to buy this certain thing, kind of deal, and how high they can make the price. Like as soon as like people get tired of this, and it's honestly like a trend on TikTok almost. Like that's how I look at it. Like how on TikTok, like there's that certain song that everyone starts using, and like that certain one does like a specific amount of time, and then it dies, and then something else comes back up. I feel like it's like that, but with money now. Like you had the Dogecoin, you had Bitcoin, now you have this NFT stuff.
I have everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're one of those lucky few that got on it and the beginning and was like, oh, this is stupid. Like, maybe I'll just do something for fun. Yeah, and then here you are, with $2 million in your bank account, then, more power to you. But, is this something that we should be looking forward to in the future? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
agree on the most part. Like, I really do. But like you said, like, if you were to get on this train when it started and like invest into that, this is like really playing with the stock market. Really, this is really playing with money if you have the money and investing in all this. And this is where it might mess with inflation at some point. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're gonna mess with all this like money and millions of dollars, and a lot of people are investing into it, then I mean, at some point it's gotta crash.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, if I can just go off of then inflation. So, the state of California, we talked a little about yesterday, but we haven't talked about this issue yet because it is very, very important. Okay? 1973. I think you guys know what year. I don't know if you guys know what year that was, but that was the year that Roe v. Wade was introduced. And
would you mind explaining Roe v. Wade before you dive?
Yes. So yeah, of course. Roe v. Wade is basically a law that gives women the right to have an abortion. And basically, an abortion is taking a baby out, or as progressives claim, taking a fetus out of the body, taking an unborn child out of your body. Yeah, basically, without being pressed any charges or anything. And we're seeing Roe v. Wade being brought up, especially down in Mississippi, but also in California. Governor Gavin Newsom of the state of California has said that if Roe v. Wade is overturned, he will make California a sanctuary. And what I mean by this is that he literally will pay women, fly women out, whatever it takes, book them a hotel for the sole reason to have an abortion. So, for example, if a woman in Tennessee wanted to have an abortion and, Roe v. Wade gets overturned, she could fly to California and stay in the hotel and get the abortion taken care of for absolutely free. Because you know why? Politicians like Gavin Newsom were like, oh, here you go. We're going to give you some money to come to California and kill a baby. Like, if you come to that point where you're inviting out-of-state people to have an abortion, you're paying them to have an abortion, what is wrong with you? He has children, okay? He's got 2 kids. That just...
It's not ringing a bell.
That just pisses me off, to be honest. If you have 2 kids, And you're telling women to come and have an abortion in the state of California. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, you are sick-minded if you are paying women to come to California for free.
Well, and like, you know,
Pisses me off. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like you gotta think from this dude's point of view, like all he's seeing is business.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
You know what I mean? Like this dude doesn't look at this as like, you know, real people or, you know, babies, infants, any of that kind of stuff. He sees each and one of those as like clients, you know? So, but I mean, it doesn't make it right by any means, but I'm just saying that like I can guarantee you that's the way he's looking at it. And you know, it's just the way that people are, and it's sad. I mean, it is, but I mean that's just the world. That's the devil for you. I mean,
I think that part about it that makes me the most mad is that he has 3 kids of his own, and he's saying this on public television. Like, imagine if his kids were listening to television one day, and they're like, "Oh, my dad agrees that kids should be murdered for absolutely free because it's the woman's choice."
well, I mean, like, you know,
Like,
a lot, most of your pedophiles and everything else. I mean, they have kids. They have all this stuff. I mean, it's one of those things where they can kind of like single themselves out. Like, I'm gonna take them out of the equation, and you know, they don't really look at it. I feel like at the same point of view when it comes to their own family compared with the rest of the world. You know,
because if that was the case, if Gavin Newsom really looked at it at his own family, then he would be so opposed of Roe v. Wade. You know what I mean? If he looked at his son Hunter, that's his name. If he was like, "Hey Hunter, listen, bud, you're gonna die, and this is because of your mother's choice, and I'm sorry, but we just gotta do it." Like, how can you just like do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, it's getting there. It's getting there.
It's so sickening to see that happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, oh, you go there. You go ahead.
No, I'm about to talk about something.
No, I mean, adding on to that, I mean, like, you know, you see all these abortion clinics or whatever where it's becoming illegal for like a man to go inside or whatever.
Yeah.
And like they literally the man has to like watch as like, I mean, I know pastors and stuff who have like gone through this experience where they have a kid and they watched their wife or their girlfriend like walk into the abortion clinic and get an abortion and he not be able to do anything about it, you know? And he just sit there and have to like let it happen. And it's like honestly traumatic because, you know, but anyway, continue, Nick.
Yeah, speaking of like, you know, kind of trying to switch subjects, about, you know, how people are free to, you know, murder children inside of themselves. You know, that is, I guess, a freedom. But speaking of losing freedom, New Zealand.
Yeah.
I can see Grant. Oh my god.
I feel like this was gonna.
Wait, what?
Okay, you know, listen to this. I'm gonna read this article actually. New Zealand to ban cigarettes for future generations. Here we go. Let's dive deep into this. Here's a, you know, okay, yeah, you're gonna ban cigarettes, like, oh good, but this is how it's taken away your freedom to do, like, it's my choice or whatever, to if I want to or not. Let them buy it. Like, I know it's not healthy, but here, let me just, I digress. Hold on, let me just read this article. Anyone born after 2008 will not be able to buy cigarettes or tobacco products in their lifetime.
Why 2008?
Law expected to be enacted in the next year. quote by the health minister, Dr. Alyssa Vero, said, "We want to make sure young people never start smoking." The move is part of sweeping crackdown on smoking announced by New Zealand Health Ministry on Thursday. Doctors and other health experts in the country have welcomed the quote-unquote world-leading reforms, which will reduce access to tobacco and restrict nicotine levels in cigarettes. Now, it will help people quit or switch to less harmful products and make it much less likely that young people get addicted to nicotine, said Professor Janet Hook from the University of Otago. The crackdown has been met with mixed reactions.
Well, I mean, see, the thing that they don't understand is they think that, like, by doing this, it's going to crack down. But if a teenager really wants to smoke, they're going to get it. You know, it's just like this whole. It's like this whole thing about how, like, you know, like we're like, you know, weed's illegal. People still find like, you know, ways to use weed. I mean, like, this isn't going to change anything, which is why, like, like I'm going way off topic by saying this, but I'll reel back in here in just a second. But it's just like the whole gun laws thing, and how, like, people are saying that, you know, there should be gun restrictions and yada yada, taking away our Second Amendment. But, like, what they don't realize is if they do that, like, the only thing that will change is, instead of when a robber comes into your home with a pistol, you also won't have a gun to defend yourself.
Exactly.
Because if a murderer, if a criminal wants a gun, he's going to get a gun, and is already most likely illegal, because it's not going to have a serial number on it. It's not going to have, you know, it's going to be some cheap $25, $50 pistol that he got in some back alley in the middle of the city. You know, and you can't get rid of those by having gun laws. The only thing that gun laws would do is get rid of the public's guns, which means that when a school shooting happens, or when anything happens, you know, when that criminal comes into your house at midnight and points a gun at your head, you can't do anything about it. You know, I mean, but that's just, you know, I'm digressing, but the whole thing that I'm trying to talk about is, no matter if they ban it or not, people will still find, if they really want it, they will still find a way to use it.
We'll hit on that after I'm so glad that was perfectly said. Me and Grant will hit on that right after. So a little more into this, you know, cigarette tobacco situation. This is a quote. I reckon it's a good move, really. One man told Reuters news agency, because right now there's a lot of young kids walking around with smokes in their mouth. Public are asking how they're getting these smokes. And it's also good, like how you just said, like, how are they wondering exactly? If you really want to smoke, you will find it. And it's also good for myself to do, because I can save more money. And don't act like there's, like, not a thing called secondhand smoke, because I definitely have experienced that, and it's terrible. I'm pretty sure everyone that's been around people smoking has experienced secondhand smoke, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
However, others have warned that the move may create a black market for tobacco. Exactly, there you go. Like how Bryce said, it's going to create this more. It's going to bring more. It's going to, I mean, people illegally.
Oh yeah, it's going to go up in demand, if anything, which is, you know,
yeah.
I mean, like, that's why you see, like like, you know how they're trying to legalize weed everywhere right now, right? It honestly, it's like, you know, I'm gonna sound horrible for saying this, but honestly, legalizing weed is not going to change anything, first of all. But second of all, it actually might help, because if it's accessible to everyone, you know, it's not going to be as demanded as it is now. the cost for it is going to go down. However, it is going to be, something else is going to take its place, of course, like cocaine or something else.
Mhm.
But I will say that weed in general is not going to be as high in demand. Anything like that they legalize is not going to be as high as demand. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so something the health ministry's official impact statement does not acknowledge is, they have a misspelt thing in here, noting it's supposed to say nothing. Customs will need more resource to enforce border control. This is a quote. This is all 100% theory and 0% substance. Sonny
Of
Cusso,
course.
chairman of the Dairy of the Business Owners Group, a lobby group at the local convenience stores, told New Zealand's Stuff news site, "There's going to be a crime wave. Gangs and criminals will fill the gap." Dog sniffs out whole. Yeah. Look at that. Oh,
I
so
love how you have how New Zealand's government has gotten it down to like a point, like to 0.1% of like how many New Zealand adults are classified as smokers. Like there's like 13.5% of New Zealand smokers are classified, and that's down from 18.2% in 2011 and 12.
Yeah.
Like, where are you getting these numbers from?
Let me read you. You literally are like a mind reader. Look, New Zealand is determined to achieve a national goal of reducing its national smoke rate by 5% by 2025, with the aim of eventually eliminating it. And keyword in there, determined.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of scary. If New Zealand as a
What's even
whole,
happening? Like, hey, yo, I'm gonna search this house.
if the
Let
government,
me.
if any government is determined to do something like that, that's kind of scary. That should be a red
Facts.
flag right there.
Facts.
Anyways, at the moment, 13% of the New Zealand adults smoke, with the rate much higher among the indigenous Maori population, where it soars to almost a third. Maori also suffer a high rate of disease and death.
I would like to think that New Zealand's government is just sitting back here thinking that, they got everything down in the bag. Like, they're just sitting back, eating their little popcorn and just watching the world like, oh man, I got everything laid out. The numbers are already there. Like, we did everything. And then, like, they're going to come and it's not going to be what they expected because it's people. I mean, it's like they act like as if people are like math or like parts of like a math equation, but like they're not. Like, it's always going to be changing. You never know what's going to happen, except in this case, we do know what's going to happen. It's not going to change anything. If it may for your average teenager, but like we were talking about, if you want to smoke, you're gonna get a smoke. So it doesn't, it won't change anything. I mean, that addiction is still there. Like they act like they can slap a little thing that says illegal in the front of it, and everyone will stop. Like it's like, I hate to break it to them, but like that's not gonna stop anyone.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Bryce actually brought up a topic that me and Nick talked about a little in class today, which was gun control. And so gun control has actually been quite an issue for years. You see progressives trying to basically be like, oh, well, guns kill people. Well, of course they kill people, but like trying to stop it and get every single person's guns is just gonna make it even worse. Like, the government cannot literally go out and find literally every single gun that's in the United States. It's just impossible.
And like, it's funny because how we always have like this major event that happens in America, and like it spikes up, that topic. Like, it was last year with George Floyd, which started the whole, BLM stuff. That was like the trending topic for a while. And now I feel like it's starting to become gun laws ever since the Oxford high school shooting happened. I've been seeing a lot more stuff now about that as well. Talking about gun laws, talking about how, like, if gun laws were uh, in effect, that this school shooting wouldn't have happened away is very untrue, because I can guarantee you right now that those ARs that those kids had were not from your local pawn shop.
Yeah. Also, I would just like to say that literally gun laws do not work. Okay? I can personally say that. There is a stat. Let's just take an example. Chicago. Okay? Literally, strictest gun laws. It's literally city in the United States. Okay? And so I'm going to read a stat to you guys real quick. So we're talking about violent crimes, which crimes being including murders, abductions, assaults, etc. So this is from 2019. The total crimes in Chicago in 2019 was 113,870.
Wasn't there like a thing saying like every minute or something there's like someone shot or like abducted in Chicago or something like that?
Yeah. And so the total crime rate is 4,188 per 100,000 people, and the chance of being a victim of a crime in Chicago is 1 in 24.
Wow.
Now that's scary. But you want to hear it. You want to hear it now in 2021? I'll give it to you. The Chicago murder rate now is 20.7 per 100,000 people. The total violent crimes, there's 27,357. And now you're less likely, but it's still like a number you should still be scared of. You're 1 in 99 chance of being the victim of a violent crime in Chicago.
Wow.
So
that's still scary. I mean,
it's very scary. That's why. Okay, Chicago seems like a really neat place. Okay, don't get me wrong. Like, I would love to go there and go see the beautiful monument. I like to go to Wrigley Field. All those types of things. But if it's at the risk of me dying, I don't think so. That's just like, Chicago is a very touristy area, but then again, it's one of the most dangerous places in the United States. It is the most dangerous place in the United States.
Yeah, and with this 227.63 square mile radius, there's 2.7 million people in there.
Yeah.
Think about that.
And 113,870 total crimes.
Well, I mean, like, that's just the thing. I mean, like, it also depends on the amount of people that are in the area. I mean, like, if you have a higher population, there's going to be more crimes. If you have a area that's a lot less populated, like, for instance, say Tennessee, where people are more spread out. Now, of course, you have places like Nashville and all that, but the crime rate will, of course, go up wherever people are. Especially in Chicago, where you have where a lot more people and a lot more. It's a lot bigger, which means that you have more alleys, you have more areas that are cut off from prying eyes, as you would say, of the police and all that.
Yeah,
just more places to hide. But yeah, no, like, and honestly, I feel like just taking away our gun, or taking away like our rights to guns, would just exponentially spike it. And it's funny because it would be not the crime rate going up. It would be amount of deaths going up. You know, it wouldn't. Yeah, crime sure would go up, but the amount of deaths as well would, I personally feel, would go up exponentially, because when you have someone who doesn't have a gun to defend themselves, like, all, like, what are they gonna do? They can't do anything about it. If they shoot you, they shoot you. You can't do anything. You don't have a gun because it's not legal to have a gun. I mean, these people that are protesting against guns because their kid, maybe died, and it's horrible. I mean, like, maybe their kid died from a burglar, or was in a school shooting, like what happened and has happened in the past, or maybe all that, and that is tragic. But I don't feel like the solution to it is taking away guns, because as you hear from everyone, a pencil writes, but you're the one who fails to test. The pencil does not fail the test. You do. But does the test write down the answers? I mean, does the pencil write down the answers? Yes, it does. But you're the one who controls what the answer is.
Yeah.
It's the person. It's not the gun. It never has been the gun.
I agree.
I mean, and that's what people don't realize. Like, they're trying to change people by taking away their rights, but that's just not going to change anything, because people can't be changed from doing, they got to be changed on a personal level. They can't be changed by just taking something away, like smoking or guns.
Yeah. Gun control obviously is a pretty big issue, and I had to really think about this, considering I'm going to be running for president soon, and so I've really thought about this topic very well, because, like, guns is a part of our Second Amendment. If we don't have guns in this country, we're basically screwed. So I've had to really think about this when it just comes to the topic of guns. And here's my stance on guns. I believe a person has the right to bear arms. Okay? I completely agree. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do wish that politicians would introduce is kind of, how do I want to say this? Really know which person you're giving the gun to. Yep. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if you look at their background, do their background check, and they haven't done any crimes, anything, and they're just trying to normally buy a gun, then that's fine. But the politicians keep saying that taking it away is the answer, which is not the case. We really have to crack down on who we're giving the gun to. It's like Bryce said, the person controls the gun. It's not the gun that does it. It's it's not the gun that kills people. It's the people. So I really think we need to start looking at who we're giving these guns to, instead of trying to take it away.
Yep. And one thing is, like, in order to get one, you have there is background checks.
Yeah, I know.
The people that sell the guns actually call up the FBI or email them right there before they actually sell you the gun, which I think is necessary, because you do need to do a background check, and you need to do all the necessary things to get one. But anyway, like, yeah, I agree with you guys 100%, but it's just like, we're all given the same facts and information. It's just they choose to, and I say them, and I'm meaning, like,
the media,
the liberal woke people that just don't understand, and they try to make everything, like, seem so, like, oh, I'm smarter and I'm freaking better than you. Like, we're given the same information, and they just don't agree.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, there's literally numbers, and they, as well as the media, they make up numbers. I can just, this morning, like, I was listening before I went to school. Like, where do you get these statistics from? Like, please, like, I need to see a graph. I need to see something that you can just spit out, like, a percentage. Like, no one's believe that.
No one, it's,
the right sense of
I feel like all I hear is, oh yeah, well, it's scientifically proven. But I'm like, okay, great, show me where.
Exactly.
Or it's like, well, there's articles, or, well, actually, it's been proven, It's like, and that's great, like, it's been proven, it's awesome. Like, please, show me. Where has it been proven?
Exactly.
Like, I would like to see a essay and a video to go with it, please.
I like to see a stat where it says that stricter gun laws actually does a crap. Like, give me a freaking city where there's the strictest gun laws and it actually makes a difference. Like, please.
Yeah, because you won't find one. Because
exactly.
the people that go up and say that there should be gun laws are the people that are acting rashly. They're not thinking about what they're saying.
No.
They're not thinking about, it's all about, okay, people these days, it's all about the now for them. It's just like Joe Biden. The only reason Joe Biden won was because it was all about the now. He was basically giving them a bunch of reasons to vote for him now. Like, oh, if you vote me for president, I'm going to, make the middle class a lot richer. I'm going to make the middle class a lot easier to live in. Yada, yada, yada. I want to do this and that and that. And that's great, Paul. It looks great on paper, but what people don't realize is it's all about the now for everyone. Like, they want it now. And that's what Joe Biden was so persuasive about, was he wanted, he was saying that he was going to give stuff to people now. And now that he's in office, and it's been, almost a year, everyone's like, I regret it. I regret it for him. Yeah. But yeah, it's all about the now for people these days. That's all people want or care about is the now. They don't care about what it will do to us in the long run. They only care about what they saw on the news last week that said that told them about the latest school shooting, or the latest, the latest shooting where a father killed his wife or something. They're never looking at the long run things. Right. And that's honestly social media's fault, because that's exactly what social media does, is they only post the worst of the worst, and they don't show what the outcome, could be. So that's just my outlook on it.
Yeah, and one thing, like you said, how Joe Biden was like promising like things now. That's another thing for our generation, is like another forerunner, what I said earlier, is Bernie Sanders. He promised, free schooling, and which nothing in this country, this capitalist society, is free. Like, legit, and nothing is free. And something to promise something free, where people nowadays work off of nothing. Actually, they work off of the government giving them paychecks and not actually going and working, is kind of sad. But they're just playing the game, and people going to school for free, or whatever he's promising, is working off the actual taxpayers. The people who actually work, the middle class, has actually shrunk both ways. So the lower class, there's a lot more people in the lower class, there's a lot more people in the upper class, and the actual middle class, who actually is kind of the backbone of our society, our capitalist society, is taking hits now. And I can attest to that, because I actually do work, and I do pay Social Security and Medicare. But in the Social Security, I won't be able to see my Social Security when I retire, because all the money that's going to the people that are right now, and that I'm working for people that don't work. and so it's kind of frustrating that I have to work and they take a cut from my paycheck that's supposed to help me further down the road, but it's actually not. It's actually benefiting the people that are right now and taking my money. So yeah, I not too happy about that, and like I said, nothing's free, so yeah, I digress from that.
No, it's just like, I mean, I'm going really deep saying this, and this starts a lot of controversies, but like, like Obamacare, for instance, like, how Joe Biden was talking about how he wants to revive Obamacare and all that. Um, and, I like to look at Obamacare as being basically like, it forces everyone to have a certain life insurance, right? Or health insurance. And I just look at it like, say you're like, a 22-year-old female who works at McDonald's, right, and has a kid, perfectly healthy 22-year-old female, works at McDonald's, makes a living, but she has to pay a certain amount of money out of her bank account for healthcare or whatever. And just like all of us have to pay a certain amount, especially the middle class and everything else, has to pay this certain amount of money. So certain people who don't need healthcare can have healthcare. A perfectly healthy 20-year-old, perfectly healthy 7-year-old, or however old, they don't need that health care because they're both young. It's not going to, they're not in any means, on the verge of getting deathly sick. And yet they should have the choice of having a health care or not we automatically having to pay for it. Because, people like me, like my dad, like my mom, who work their butts off every single day. I mean, my mom gets up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work and doesn't get back till 6 p.m. Dad is almost the same way. They don't, what the government doesn't do is they don't look at people like that who work full time from 8 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night just to put food on the table. And they don't look at that when thinking about the whole, like, oh, this would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, this would be a great idea for people, right? Right? Like, this looks good. Looks good. Like I said, it always looks good on paper. But when you actually apply it, it just makes it harder for the people who are working their butts off. It just makes it harder for them because they're working their butt off to get where they are. Trying to make a meager living, trying to do the best they can for their children, and the people who are homeless or who are just working at McDonald's, who are young, who are still trying to find their way into the world. We're having to pay for their stuff so they don't have to work hard. So the rich don't have to work hard. It's just it's and I rant, but it is frustrating.
I understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I think I also agree that Joe Biden, he's honestly, I mean, let's just be real, he's a freaking liar, but he's a liar, but so is every other politician.
Mm-hmm.
They lied about Donald Trump's tax cuts and how, oh, well, this is going to benefit the rich, when actually, in all reality, it actually helped the middle class and the lower class, and actually made their income more. In a article I read, by like thousands of dollars, like the difference was insane. So actually, it did not benefit the rich for any liberals or progressives watching this. But it actually made.
We speak truth here, Grant. We speak truth.
Yeah, of course, we only speak truth.
Yes.
If you don't believe me, go look it up.
Nick just lost 2 subscribers.
Honestly, I love speaking the truth. I want to kind of branch out from what Bryce said and then kind of wrap it up here. So these, like you said, people are making decisions and they don't actually understand what's going on in the real world. these career politicians that keep getting into office and making all these, because they have to make laws basically to, or these bills or they have to pass these bills to, kind of stay in office and, do their job, quote unquote. And one thing that kind of branches off into two different things. We really need term limits, in not getting these career politicians into office, and we need to actually have strong leaders that actually know how to make decisions and do it for the people, because by definition a politician is a public servant. And to go off of that, you could see it in movies, it does happen, but in real life, more or less, a prime example is the military, right? You have people going off overseas and fighting for our freedom, and then you have these politicians from 3,000 miles away making these decisions that people that are over there fighting in the moment can't do. It's life or death over there, and you have these politicians over here 3,000 miles away, however far away, making decisions, sitting behind their desk, drinking a cup of joe, and making terrible decisions. And it's just, we need, like, a reformation or whatever,
Yeah. I agree.
I feel like we need people in office who come from somewhere, come from a life that we are living now,
What do you mean by that?
Like,
can you just expand on that?
Like, just come from like a family that, worked from 8 a.m. to, 8, 9 in the afternoon.
Yeah, you're saying, like, you need to actually come from a family that, has parents that worked, has you working, like, you actually go to work,
right, exactly,
and not actually getting fed by a silver spoon the whole time. And going into, politics and stuff.
Like, not like, I mean, like, with Donald Trump, the whole small loan of $1 million, yeah.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Yeah.
Because I promise you, there are some politicians out there who have come from that type of situation that Bryce is talking about. Kamala Harris being one of them. Her mother basically made absolutely nothing. She was a teacher, and I don't think she grew up with I think she grew up with a father, but her whole family all grew up from a low income family. So, and then Joe Biden as well. I mean, his family made absolutely nothing. But I'll let you guys finish. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. No, I'm. And you look at Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and you see, he was actually starting to fix America. And I'm just saying that we need more people like that. Like, we need more people to come from an area like we all, experience today. I mean, Donald Trump was, it just is sad because Donald Trump, he was really starting to get America out of the rut that we were in. But, Joe Biden just decided back and completely demolish all that. But not like, I feel like we need more people like that. People who actually, see the world and be like, oh wow, instead of sitting back in their nice little comfy chair and, thinking that they're making a good decision.
I got you, Bryce. Don't you worry. 2036 is the year that everything big's gonna happen, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Man. It's going to be a great year.
Alright, well, coming up on actually, we just passed an hour and a minute. I believe we will wrap it up here for this episode of the Tip Off Truth. Once again, the Tip Off Truth show, like I've said, on my main account was Crazy Horse, but we have now from the podcast switched over to the Tip Off Truth show, the TIP-OFF Truth show. You can find that on YouTube. I will be posting this video onto YouTube. Thanks to our sponsor, SF5 Lubricant and Solvent. And ladies and
You can't eat it though.
Yeah, you cannot eat it. Yes, indeed.
Don't try that.
But that will be it for this episode. I'm your host again, Nick, and we have Grant and Bryce here, and we're signing off.
Peace.